Hi, good morning everyone. Okay, very good morning to all of you. Well, can you hear the sound of water? I hope that's not too much of a distraction for you. Oh, and can you hear the sound of birds? Can you hear that? Well, actually I'm in my garden, and that's why you hear the sound of water from my water feature, and now there's a car passing and you can hear the sound of birds. Okay, but anyway, okay, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning now, and just before I get out of the house, I thought, I want to talk about one very important thing, and that is lead generation and phone calls. Okay, so we all know that in this business, one of the most important things that we've got to do every day is to make phone calls. And when you sit down and do an assessment, or sit down to actually do a discussion with your mentor, okay, a lot of times your mentor will be asking you, how many phone calls have you been making? How many phone calls do you make in a day? How many phone calls did you make yesterday? And most of the time, we will have this feeling inside us that we know we are not generating the kind of results that we want because we don't make enough phone calls. Okay, we know that, but we know we have to do it, but to actually do it, it's very hard. Why? Because we run out of people to call. Is that right? Okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, and I'm gonna ask you exactly the same question. Okay, how many phone calls did you make yesterday? And how many phone calls did you make the day before yesterday? And how many phone calls have you made today? Okay, so most of you will be answering maybe one or two or three. And you and me know very well, if you're just making 2 or 3 phone calls a day, it's not going to work. Okay, it's not enough. Okay, especially for those of us who are full-time in this business, we should be making probably about 5 to 10 phone calls a day. And you'll be asking me, Hilda, where do I get so many people to call? And this is exactly what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so when I asked you that question just now, how many phone calls did you make yesterday? Think about it. Now, if you have answered 2 to 3, okay, now what phone calls are you referring to? Are you referring to phone calls that you are actually making to lock down an appointment? Are you actually referring to a phone calls that you are making so that you can invite someone to a home party? Okay, well, think of it from a different perspective. When I talk about phone calls, it can be a phone call, it can be on WhatsApp, it can be an active conversation, a private message in Facebook, but an actual conversation where you get connected to someone. And it may not necessarily be an invitation to come out, okay, for an OPP session or a home party. Okay, when I talk about phone calls, if I say that you're to make 5 to 10 phone calls a day, that's a lot. Just get connected to someone, okay? Because in this business, we all know, we have been taught in MDO, okay, that we are supposed to make friends, then executives will come. Okay, so if you're not making phone calls and you're not getting connected to anyone out there, okay, how are you actually going to have lead generation? So making phone calls, give yourself a challenge. You got to change that. You cannot be making 2 to 3 phone calls a day and hope that you will generate like really big results in the next 2 to 3 months or in the next half year or 1 year. Okay, so change that habit of making phone calls where you increase the number of phone calls. Okay, increase the number of phone calls. Maybe you increase it to 5, eventually to 6, eventually to 8 or even 10 phone calls in a day. It can be a phone call, it can be a WhatsApp message, it can be a private message through Facebook. Okay, but get connected to someone. Just ask them, how are you? How have you been doing? And then we take it from there. Okay, so have a great day.